You've probably noticed something lately that doesn't quite sit right. Maybe you checked your bank account a little earlier than usual. Maybe you heard someone mention a new banking rule and wondered, is something changing with my Social Security? And more importantly, is my next deposit safe? That feeling, that small uncertainty, is exactly why this update matters right now. Because a new banking rule has just been passed, and while it's not designed to take anything away from you, it does affect how your Social Security payments are processed, monitored, and sometimes even timed. So let's walk through this slowly, clearly, and without any panic. Here's what's really going on and what it actually means for you. Right now, millions of Americans depend on direct deposits from Social Security, whether that's retirement benefits, SSI, SSDI, or even related Medicare linked payments. And over the past few months, there has been a growing push from financial regulators to tighten how banks handle incoming deposits, especially government payments. This new rule is part of that effort. But here's the first thing you need to know. This is not a cut. This is not a cancellation. And this is not a sudden change to your benefit amount. Your Social Security payments are still scheduled. They're still funded. And they're still being sent out on time. What is changing is how banks handle those deposits behind the scenes. Now let's talk about why this rule even exists. Over the last few years, there has been a sharp increase in fraud targeting seniors, especially involving direct deposits. Scammers have been trying to redirect payments, access accounts, or trigger unauthorized transactions. So regulators stepped in and said, banks need to be more careful, more alert, more secure. That's where this new rule comes in. It requires banks to apply stricter verification processes to certain types of deposits, including government-issued payments like Social Security. Now, when you hear that, it can sound worrying. You might think, does that mean my payment will be delayed? Does that mean I have to do something? In most cases, no. For the vast majority of people, nothing will feel different. Your deposit will still arrive on your usual date. But for some individuals, especially those with recent account changes, there could be small delays or additional checks. Let me explain that part carefully. If your banking details have changed recently, if you switched accounts, if there was unusual activity flagged on your account, your bank may temporarily review your incoming Social Security payment before releasing it. We're not talking about weeks. We're usually talking about a delay of a few hours, sometimes up to one business day. That's it. And even then, it doesn't happen to everyone. Now, let's connect this to the question many people are asking right now. Is there a new deposit coming? This is where things get a little confusing online. You may have seen headlines or videos suggesting a bonus payment or a new deposit triggered by this rule. Let's be very clear. This banking rule does not create new payments. It does not add extra money to your Social Security. It does not introduce a surprise check. What it can do is change the timing or visibility of a deposit in your account. And that's where some of the confusion is coming from. For example, let's say your Social Security payment is scheduled for the 3rd of the month. Normally, you might see it appear late at night on the 2ND or early morning on the 3rd. With this new rule, your bank might process that deposit a little more carefully. So instead of appearing overnight, it might show up mid-morning. Same payment, same amount, same date, just a slightly different timing. Now let's talk about payment schedules for a moment, because this is where anxiety tends to build. Social Security payments generally follow a predictable structure. If you receive SSI, your payment typically arrives on the 1st of the month. If you receive Social Security retirement benefits, your payment depends on your birth date. If your birthday falls between the 1st and 10th, you're usually paid on the 2nd Wednesday. Between the 11th and 20th, the 3rd Wednesday. Between the 21st and 31st, the 4th Wednesday. That structure has not changed. The new banking rule does not alter those dates. But here's where things get interesting. If a payment date falls on a weekend or a federal holiday, the deposit is usually sent earlier. Now, when combined with stricter banking checks, that early deposit might not always appear as early as you expect. Again, not missing, not reduced, just processed more carefully. Let's walk through a simple example. Imagine you receive $1,500 per month in Social Security. Your payment is scheduled for Wednesday. In the past, you might see that money hit your account Tuesday night. Now, under stricter banking review, it might show up Wednesday morning instead. That can feel like a delay, even though technically it's still on time. And that's where the expectation gap happens. What you expect versus what actually happens. Understanding that difference is key to staying calm and confident. Now let's talk about who this affects the most. If your banking situation has been stable, same account, no recent changes, no unusual activity, you're very unlikely to notice any difference. Your payments should continue smoothly. But if you've recently changed banks, opened a new account, updated direct deposit details, had fraud alerts, or unusual transactions, then your bank may apply extra scrutiny to incoming deposits, including Social Security. Again, this is not a punishment. It's a protection measure. And once your account is verified as stable, things usually return to normal quickly. Now here's something important that not many people are talking about. This rule also affects how quickly banks release funds after receiving them. In some cases, banks are allowed to briefly hold funds while they verify the source. That means your deposit could technically arrive at the bank, but not be immediately available for withdrawal. This is rare, but it's part of the system. So if you ever check your balance and don't see your payment right away, it doesn't automatically mean something is wrong. Sometimes it's just being processed. Now let's address Medicare, because many viewers are wondering how this ties in. If you have Medicare premiums deducted directly from your Social Security, that process remains unchanged. The amount deducted is the same. The timing is the same. The calculation is the same. The banking rule does not interfere with those deductions. However, if your deposit appears slightly later than expected, you might feel like something changed, especially if you're comparing it to previous months. But again, the underlying system is stable. Now let's talk about taxes briefly. Some people are concerned that this rule might involve new tax reporting or IRS monitoring. There are broader efforts to track large transactions in the banking system. But your regular Social Security deposits are not new or unusual activity. They are expected. They are documented. And they are not being taxed differently because of this rule. So there's no need to worry about surprise tax changes tied to this update. Now, let's bring this back to real life. Imagine you're planning your monthly expenses: rent, groceries, utilities, medication. You rely on your Social Security arriving at a certain time. If that timing shifts even slightly, it can create stress. That's completely understandable. But here's the key takeaway. The money is still coming. The schedule is still in place. And the system is still working. What's changing is the process, not the promise. Now, let's talk about what you should do, if anything. First, don't rush to make changes unless there's a real issue. If your payments have been arriving normally, there's no need to switch banks or update anything. Second, if you do notice a delay, give it a little time. Check again later in the day. In many cases, the deposit appears within hours. Third, keep your banking information updated and secure. If you ever need to change your direct deposit, make sure it's done through official channels. And finally, stay informed, because updates like this can sound bigger than they actually are. And when information spreads quickly online, it's easy for confusion to grow. Now, let's circle back to the original question. Is a new deposit coming? The honest answer is no new payment has been created by this rule. But your regular payments are still arriving, just with slightly tighter security around them. And that's ultimately a good thing, because it means your money is being protected. It means fewer chances of fraud. It means a stronger system overall, even if it feels a little different at first. So if you take one thing away from this update, let it be this: nothing has been taken away from you. Your benefits are still intact. Your payments are still scheduled. And the system is still delivering what you've earned. There may be small timing differences. There may be occasional reviews. But there is no sudden loss, no hidden cut, no surprise cancellation. And as we move through this month, you'll likely see things settle into a consistent pattern again. So stay calm, stay aware, and keep checking your account the way you normally do. If something truly unusual happens, like a payment missing for more than a full business day, then it's worth reaching out to your bank or the Social Security office. But for most people, this will pass without any disruption at all. And that's the part that matters most. If this helped clear things up for you, you're not alone. A lot of people are asking the same questions right now. Feel free to share your experience in the comments. Did your deposit arrive on time this month? Did you notice any difference? And if you want steady, clear updates like this, without the noise or confusion, you can stay connected here. Because in times like this, having the right information makes all the difference. Take care, and your next payment should be right where it's supposed to be.